How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to be looking at MBIO. This stock is a biotech company, and it ran all the way from 93 cents to $2.25 in a span of 4 hours, right? Insane run up into after hours, and then it exhausted a lot of its gains in after hours. Let's talk about why this ran, which seems to be no reason at all from the conclusion that I based it on. I believe that it was an oversold run up. Now this company has been drastically coming down for months now, and I think it just had a very strong oversold run up. Retail just started catching it when this volume came in. Could be a retail pump, and yeah, there's really no reason for this stock to have ran today. No news was dropped. Let's get right into why why this happened and what I think is going to happen from here. So as you guys can see, there was no news drop today. Nothing came out. As I said, I think it was mainly an oversold run up. It's been exhausted for a very long time now, and finally on the daily it had the chance to push back, and it finally did, all the way to 2.25. I believe it started to maybe fill this gap and then ended up failing into after hours. Let's talk about the due diligence here. So I made these slides. We're going to look at their catalysts that are coming up. So as you guys can see, they have 2 drugs that they're working on. One of them is phase 1 trial initiation anticipated in Q4 2025. Mid news, right? It's phase 1 trial. This is very, very early on for the drug. So it's really nothing to keep in mind. Again, we have top line data expected in Q4 for this other drug, and their phase 2 clinical trial is ongoing. This is decent, but again, it's nothing that is going to shake this stock up completely. They're still very early on in these 2 drugs, so we're looking at nothing much here, right? And these are expected to come out later this year. Could be in the next 3 months, could be in the next 4 or 5 months, right? So we could see a run up heading into late 2025, but it's too early to tell. Let's take a look at their upcoming milestones and catalysts. As we just talked about, we have these 2 drugs, and then the company believes existing cash will fund operations through mid-2026, which aligns with the above milestones. So they have enough cash to last them through half of 2026. That's what we're able to gather from this information here, and we'll take a look at that when we look at their dilution tracker. Revenue streams, they have no product revenues, so they have no revenue coming into the company at all, like no drug they sell, nothing. The revenue is primarily derived from grant income, which is income from other investors, R&Ds. These are very common for biotech companies. For the 3 months ended March 31, 2025, revenue was 100 grand, right? So they have no revenue. Simple as that. Derived from a small business innovation grant. So their revenue comes from grants, R&Ds, just typical starter biotech revenues. Let's take a look at this. Their balance sheet. So total cash 14 million. We can't even see their debt. They have a negative 8 million, 7.5 million operating cash flow, right? So that's about half of their total cash. Not too good. We don't even know how much debt they have. They have 14 million in cash, which is going to last them 25 months, I believe. It was 27.6 months. So the company has 27.6 months of cash left based on quarterly cash burn of negative 1.39 and an estimated current cash of 12.8. So we had 14 million, I believe. 14 million in cash, and then if you do the math here, 12.8, and then negative 1.39 million. So it adds up. They have around $14 million of cash. It's going to last them the next 27 months, and they have high dilution as of recently. And you guys know, right, as soon as this stock just gets a solid move, they're going to drop an offering, right? There will be dilution here. It's pretty imminent. I would say, just taking a look at their catalysts and the fact that all of their revenue comes from grant incomes. They need money to fund these operations, right? And they think they'll fund these operations through mid-2026. But what happens when they need cash after that? They want to move on to phase 2, phase 3. There's so many clinical trials that have to be done, and that requires so much funding for biostock companies. So let's take a look at this. No insider activity as of recently. So it makes sense as to why this stock was dropping very consistently. And yeah, it was very surprising to see this oversold setup here. Yeah, let's talk about what I think is going to happen. So as you guys know, I think this is just bullshit. This should come down, right? This should settle out and maybe see a quiet and small run up into the end of the year. I wouldn't trade this stock or swing it at all. But What I would want to see is potentially some range trading in between this area into pre-market tomorrow, and then a break of 180, $2. Maybe we'll fill that gap at 250, I believe. Let's take a look. I think it was closer right here. So it's a 250. Maybe we'll fill that gap. I don't really see anything happening. It exhausted all of its gains in after hours. This just looks like a retail pump to me. So I don't know. We'll see. But like I said, I found no news on this stock. I haven't really checked social media or anything. We can check stock rates and just see what people are saying here on MBIO. Maybe like a popular influencer posted this ticker. Let's see. Go to their website and click on clinical trials. You see a record history for each study. That's how I found all of this information, was on their website. I had to go through their quarterly updates. I didn't find any I didn't find a shit. I forgot what it's called, but I didn't find their pipeline. That's what it's called. Let's see, MBIO. Yeah, so I don't really see anything interesting here. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. Like I said, no news. Looks like a retail pump. Nothing to be shocked about. It is what it is. It's a penny stock. It ran. It was very very oversold. It's been coming down for months now. Shorts covered when they started to see this run happening. Retail hopped in on it. Retail traded the momentum, and it dropped most of its gains in after hours. So I wouldn't waste too much time on this. I wouldn't trade this tomorrow unless we see some heavy volume and heavy momentum going into market open. I'll be watching it with my team throughout the morning just in case we see anything interesting. But as you guys saw, the due diligence, nothing is there. No news. Nothing for me to report on. There isn't even a high short float, so a short squeeze happening is out of the question. I hope this video cleared some things up for you guys. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and I will see you guys in the next video.